All right, good morning, everyone. For those that I kind of just met, and for those that are on the phone, this is Phil Pugh, Director of Emergency Management out at Memorial Hospital in Belleville, the EMS Administrator and the Regional Hospital Coordinator, Healthcare Coalition Chair for the Edwardsville region, which you are great partners in. So I would like to first thank you guys for signing up for this. Not everybody wanted to raise their hands except for Gary. He was the only one that wanted to raise his hand. I joke, I kid. He didn't, and we didn't push him to do it. He just was like, all right, I think we can do this. He wanted to get involved and everything. On the line, we do have the folks over at Carlinville Area Hospital. We have Randall Schilling and Leanne Kierstead right now. I don't know how many other folks have joined you guys since we've been online, but we're about to get started. So, Leanne, if I could call out to you, who do you have over there with you right now?
So I have Randall and I have Jessica from Quality and Risk Management.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We do have a few other folks that have joined online. Just so we're clear, I know this went out to all our Region 4 and Edwardsville region folks and up into the Region 3 area as well. So I know we do have a few folks on the line there. This won't directly impact anybody outside the region, so you're more than welcome to hang around, listen, and see what goes on. We'll be on mute for a while. We'll come off mute. We'll come back and talk. But you won't be directly participating. But we're glad to have you if you want to stay on. Okay. So today we are participating together in what's called a coalition surge test. Okay. It's kind of a misnomer. I hate to say that, but that's what it's titled. It's called a surge test. And traditionally, when we think of surge, what do we think about? Where's my ED management? What do we think about when we think of surge?
The amount.
Huh?
We have an influx of patients, and we can't handle the amount that we have.
Okay, exactly. That's traditional surge, right? But today, you guys are going to be practicing an evacuation exercise. And the coalition, all the folks outside of here, are surging to accept your patients. So, in that regard, it's surging. But you're the only ones evaluated. None of the other people are evaluated on what's going on there. So, that's why I say it's a misnomer. Okay? Today's exercise will last approximately 3.5 to 4 hours. Okay? It's going to be broken up, and I'll talk about how it's going to be broken up in a second, but that's where we're going to be here. But we will have time to take breaks, lots of time for you guys to talk, think, and do things. Okay? This is a low threat. This is an opportunity for us, specifically you guys here in the hospitals, to discuss your processes, policies, procedures, plans, however you title those, and how you would execute the scenario that you have facing you. Okay? So I'm going to go through a few things, and there are some things that I'm going to kind of read verbatim that kind of have to be read that way, so you make sure we're all on the same sheet. Music. But one of the things that I did want to say is that in the vision of this, ASPR, the Assistant Secretary for Preparedness and Response, the people who provide us the grant funds all across the United States to the healthcare preparedness or the hospital preparedness program. A lot of you guys were recipients of that grant in the past. You guys, and it went down from 30,000 or whatever it was to 10,000. Now you don't get a direct grant, but you do sometimes be a subaward through us as the fiduciary responsibility for the grant. So we provide some grant funds. There's been a lot of changes in CMS guidelines, right? I don't know if you guys have been through a JCO or HVAP survey in the last year, but those things have come on board that require you to participate doing either full-scale exercises or exercises that take part with the region and stuff like that. This is one of those ways of fulfilling that. So we will, at the end of this, like we did last year, we'll create an after-action report, send that out to everybody, to all the participants. So again, thank you for being a part of it. It's designed to basically surge, or the exercise is designed around the concept that there are 20%, they want to basically evacuate 20% of the acute care beds within the region. That's kind of the goal. Okay. Last year we had 4 hospitals all participating. We were just shy of that. Not everybody can participate at the same time. We understand that. This year we have 2 active hospitals participating, so we're going to fill some of those gaps for you, so you can kind of understand that. Okay. So this is the overview for today. Again, you're going to have a Tabletop with functional exercise is going to last about 90 minutes. We're going to have a facilitated discussion where we kind of talk about, I'm going to ask you some questions, okay? And these are scripted questions that Asper really wants answers to that we kind of respond to. And then we'll have an after actions review. We'll conduct that all today, okay? With some, like I said, with some breaks. Okay? A few ground rules of things you want to make sure that you understand. Any real world emergency that you have going on in the hospital today is your priority. We are not your priority, okay? We're just friends today that are going to watch you save somebody's life. Likely if there's a problem. When you are communicating, because you will communicate with some of your external partners, please be sure to let them know that this is an exercise. Everyone in the region has received notification through EM Resource, but some people might not have received that. Maybe they didn't check it or what have you. But when they go to update their beds at 10 o'clock, they will see a big notification in there if they don't have it open already, that this exercise is going on. Okay? And it will say specifically that you and Carlin Area Hospital are participating. No patients will be physically moved at all. That's not the goal of this exercise whatsoever. We will use the provided documents, so we're going to talk about some of these documents. I'm going to hand them out to you guys here in a second. And if you were to think about this in our regional planning, we would be at what we consider an EOP response level 1, probably the highest priority across the region. That means that's the biggest thing that probably could be happening in the Edwardsville region at the time. A 5 being an alert, a 1 being something of statewide significance across both here and our Metro East partners, folks in the Metro East. So something that's that large. Okay? If we're evacuating at least 20% of all the hospitals in this region, that's a big deal. Okay? Now, we don't hit a direct scenario. I'm not going to say that this, the ASPR doesn't say you have to have a direct scenario, but for you guys, what I want you to envision in this scenario is this, pretty simple. We just had an earthquake, big earthquake, okay? And we can't go left. I like to say that. I don't know if anybody watched the movie Zoolander. You can't do it. You're not an ambi-turner. You can't turn left on the runway. You can't go left. You cannot go west across the bridge into St. Louis area or anything, because it's going to take about 24 hours for those bridges to be recertified. There's some damage, structural damages to this nice, beautiful bridge you have right out here. There's damage all across all those bridges, and your local EMAs are warning everyone not to check the bridges until you've been given the go-ahead. But at the same time, your facility is not structurally sound enough for you to remain in it, and just imagine you're a fire and emergency services. Folks are here, and they're like, we got to get you out, and we got to get you out in a hurry. So this is an emergent evacuation, okay? Without really moving anybody. And you can't go left, okay? Again, the exercises that the hospitals that are affected during this exercise, okay? Both you, Carlinville Area Hospital, and Memorial Hospital Belleville, and Memorial Hospital East. So what that means to you is that those are areas that you cannot contact for support, for taking patients. You cannot contact those hospitals for taking patients if you needed to. A few things that I'm going to pass out that you guys already have. These are some exercise tables, and what they are is, the first one is on table A. It's basically your current census, what you have in the house right now. Okay. Table 2 is what's considered your appropriate bed facilities. What does that mean? Okay. There's a couple things along the top, and we'll kind of talk offline. But in order for you to say you have an accepting facility, you have to have basically 3 things. You have to have the patient. You have to have a bed to where they can go that meets their level of care. And you have to have a service, an EMS transport agency, to get them from point A to B. Okay? Those are pretty much the 3 things. And that's what table 2 goes through. And table 3 kind of follows that up. Make sure you have the right ambulance transportation agency to get you wherever you need to go. Okay? So those are pretty much the 3 pieces of paper that you will be involved in. There'll be 2 copies. I think we have multiple copies of these around. But I'm going to give these to Gary to start. Sorry. Contact. All right. So Before we go any further, I'm going to read this verbatim, and for the folks on the line, it will sound a little bit robotic for me because I'm going to read it. It's not too long, probably taking about a minute. But for the next 90 minutes, you'll be participating in an exercise. It has been determined that you need to evacuate the hospital in the next few hours. Again, given the scenario that I gave you. Can't go left. Can't go left. Primarily designed to deal with the folks that you have within the region. For purposes of this exercise, you will need to identify space in other facilities and coordinate transportation of all of your patients that need evacuating. There will be no movement of actual patients, and this exercise is not designed to impact real-world patient care at any time. Please use the patient tracking sheets that I provided to record the information on patients requiring evacuation beds offered from other facilities and transportation recruitment. You may use your usual systems to track patient movement and transportation decisions. However, these forms are designed for you to capture the information through the course of the exercise. We will make a few simplifying assumptions for the purpose of this exercise. Again, we are not tracking individual patients, but rather the number of patients in each of the following categories: long-term care, general med-surg, ICU, pediatrics, NICU, labor and delivery, and psych beds or psych patients. Patients are not considered transferred until the facility confirms it has the ability to accept the patients and an appropriate transportation asset has been identified. This part says, please begin each phone call by emphasizing this is an exercise and there will be no movement of actual patients. You may stop the exercise if you believe there's someone's safety is at risk. With these assumptions in mind, for the next 90 minutes, please respond as you would in an actual scenario. We and Leanne, as assessors and observers, are only here. We're flies on the wall at this point. Once we go forward, when we start, and we will literally 90 minutes, and we will stop at the end of that 90 minutes, no matter where you're at. You know, it's like pencils down if you're taking a test. We'll stop there, and after that, we will continue on with the exercise. But again, we're just flies on the wall. Unless you had a question about the regional hospital coordinator, like if you were to be communicating with the regional hospital coordinator, me, Memorial Hospital Belleville, that's fine. We can help answer those type of questions. But keep in mind, Memorial Hospital Belleville is doing what right now? Evacuating. They're evacuating. So I probably would not be in my normal role as both emergency manager and the regional hospital coordinator. I would probably be moved out as just the RHCC, have a small team with me. Lee may be stuck helping physically help evacuate patients in the hospital, and so with Leanne. So our backup, just so you know, is Anderson Hospital. That is the fallback if the RHCC is damaged. I somehow am on a cruise, which I will be in about 25 days, celebrating our 25th anniversary. So any questions before we get started? Yes.
So obviously this is an evacuation exercise. Our building has been damaged by an earthquake, right? So, you know, I hear you in terms of like these forms and the whole transfer of patients and all of those pieces. Mm-hmm. If this is real life, there's a whole lot that's actually going on within this building right now where we'll be managing kind of current state safety as well as getting people out of here. So I'm sorry if I'm like asking too much, but is your expectation that you're evaluating us on like
no problem.
The whole scenario versus just focusing on getting patients out? What are your thoughts on that?
So we were not gonna strip away all of the extra stuff. Okay. That's all you do. You'll strip away all of the extra, because yes, there will be 1,001 moving parts going on during the evacuation. All right, we got these people moved to this vertical area. We got this. We have fire emergency services that are outside. We're coordinating this. Yeah, there's a lot of pieces.
We're dealing with the in and out. We're dealing with what
we are dealing with what you have, and can you identify an ambulance service and a bed in your region in the time that's allotted?
Okay. So we're just really focusing on that portion of this disaster.
Just that portion of it.
And it's our current census.
And it is your current census.
Current census.
It's what you actually have in the beds today. So, we're not going to invent or give you any extra. We've just given you your limitations. Memorial Hospital Belleville is off limits, Memorial Hospital East is off limits. So if you're picking up that phone, and we expect a real phone call if you're doing that.
We actually call in.
Yes, that part, all of that part goes on. Again, preface it with this is an exercise. Okay. As long as the level of care meets the level. So you can't say ICU patient to med surge because they have a med surge bed clear. You get what I'm saying? It needs to be a 1-to-1 transfer. Okay.
And the goal is 20% of our current.
No, for you, everything. That's the region. 20% of the region is evacuating. So just imagine around 450 patients in the 11 counties in the Edwardsville region are now moving. So what does that mean to you when you start thinking about EMS resources? Just think, so those things are going on. Do you have another question?
Yeah, so what about like ED? What's going on? Like, are you wanting us to assess what's going on in the ED and getting those patients out of here too? Or just looking at inpatients?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have to worry about what's going on in imaging and ED and all those things.
If they're not inpatients and ED is really what you're looking at. Acute care beds.
Okay, so we do need to get, because she's got 12 people on criticals or whatever.
They would have to go.
We got to figure out where to go then. Okay. All right.
All right.
Are we assuming limited outside help?
Everything is open except for Memorial Hospital Belleville, Memorial Hospital East, and you can't go left. Remember, you can't go to St. Louis Hospital.
What I was referring to was mutual aid for fire departments and to our manpower.
If that was part of what you would do it. You can think about it. Remember, you're going to have to do it via transport agency. So most of your fire departments are EMS non-transport agencies. So they'd be there to provide some support or maybe help you with patients that you would have in a parking lot waiting to go somewhere.
And also remember, a lot of your transfers are going to be considerable time delays as far as the truck's not going to be available for that hour or two that it takes them to get to where they're going. So factor that in when you're talking to them about taking a truck, Especially, I don't know how you are at Psych, but when we moved Psych last year, some of them were going as far away as Chicago.
Yeah.
And that's 4 hours one way running lights and siren. You're 8 hours without that truck. It's one less doing anything.
All right. The exercise will begin, and I will give you guys updates at every 15 minutes. 15 minutes down makes more pressure. 15 minutes down. No. So, begin. We're now flies on the wall.
All right, we're now opening incident commands. We are in an evacuation drill where we need to take all of our inpatients, ED patients, and get them transferred. So we immediately need to definitely get those who have inpatient and transfer responsibilities right to the table to start documenting. So Bailey, Lisa, Denny, we need you, obviously you guys from the ED. Anybody else? Gary's wanting to get up here. The rest of you can